Hi everybody, my name is Harry Jacobs and I am the North of 60 Gamer and welcome. I am starting a bit of a vlog here, so this is a little bit of experiment for people who want to join me and listen to me ramble for maybe less than 10 minutes, let's just say, and see what's going on in my gaming life and my real life. Get to know me as the person on the other side of the screen, because, we cannot talk with each other physically. Of course, if you get in touch with me through Facebook or something, I'm around. But so let's just talk about what's going on in the world and what's going on in my life and what's going on in my gaming table. First of all, the big news, of course, is Ukraine. And how does that affect me as a gamer in Yellowknife Northwest Territories? Well, indirectly, as you know, with the sanctions and the price of gasoline and heating oil now, things are going up and up and up, and like everywhere else, gasoline now is almost about $8 Canadian gallon, which is about $1.65 a liter. And of course, for those Americans, our gallon is 4.54 liters, as opposed to yours, which are slightly under 4 liters at 128 ounces. So, in effect, we're paying a fair good. I did calculate it. It was like, if you're paying around $4.50 a gallon, I'm paying over $6 for an American gallon right now. We're closer to $8 for a Canadian gallon. Also, we're seeing the ramifications in the food store with the supply chain and everything being trucked up to Yellowknife, which is 1,000 miles away from most urban centers such as Edmonton. There is a upswing in prices, especially around meat. Beef is now unattainable. I went to buy meat and it was like, what do you mean that roast is $60? And we're not even talking about small, expensive cut. We're talking about a cheap cut. I mean, I looked at one where there was like these short ribs and it was like, holy cow, like $40-50 for 3 short ribs, and even chicken. Like we buy chicken wings in the club packs here, what we call club packs, which is usually a couple of pounds as opposed to a smaller pack, which might be a pound. It was $28 as opposed to what it used to be a couple weeks ago at $19. So you can see that the effects are worldwide, and living in the north does have its challenges, especially if heating oil goes up for us. Where I have to heat my place about 8 to 9 months out of the year, basically. From about June, the only time I can't turn the heat on is basically July and August. So close to 9 to 10 months out of the year, there's heat. I gotta have the heat on. So putting that aside, this may affect supply chains for games in the future. I don't know. What else is happening with me? Well, I am going on a cruise in May, and I'm hoping to do some videotaping of games while I play on the ship. We are going on the Jade, NCL Jade. We're doing back-to-back cruises in the Eastern Mediterranean, and we're going to be in Santorini and Istanbul and Israel and Greece and Mykonos and a bunch of other islands. And then we'll be coming back, of course, to visit our family in southern Ontario. If you're looking to rob me, please, we do have 6 dogs and a roommate, so the house is not empty. So please don't come and rob me. I like my games. Games-wise, there is some news. I will talk a little bit about it because I don't have the official word other than, I want to do a vlog specifically around what is coming up, which of course is the board gaming cafe that I'm opening up with Edward Butt of Coyote's Restaurant. He is putting in a small board games cafe, well, maybe not that small, 2,500 square feet, in which we'll have about 450 games to start. I will be taking a lot of my personal collection and selling it to the store, only keeping a few back, especially those more collectible games, because I've moved away from big, heavy games, and basically, so some of those will go over to the store, and some of my solo stuff will stay with me because I play solo mainly. So that's an exciting thing that is coming up, and hopefully you'll look forward to some of those videos when we start showing the space. We will be getting the drawings soon of the architectural space where Ed and I are going to work to design the restaurant ourselves and then have it rendered by the architect properly. We're hoping maybe 60 peoples. We're hoping to be able to support 60 people, and then plus a small 6 to 10 person room for gatherings such as D&D or Warhammer with a big huge table, so that you can have that kind of a play area off to the side, so that you can have some privacy, and that room would be available to rent for those larger groups that want to have a D&D sessions. There will be things that are going on in the store. The videotaping certainly is going to move to the store, and I'm going to build a little studio there eventually. But for now, we will move the booms and all that stuff, and we hopefully will have patrons involved with our efforts to bring games to you on the North of 60 Gaming channel, which might get a little bit rebranded based on the marketing that we tend to go. We're still talking with the marketing people, so hopefully that'll come back, but I'll be branded under the cafe, and we'll have hopefully some stuff to sell and things like that. We've got some concepts that we're kicking around. Remember, we're in a small community, but we believe that the community will support a cafe style with quality food. I am an ex-chef, so the food both Ed and I want is something a little on the fresher side that people will perceive and enjoy based on the freshness and the quality of food. So it might be a step up from what you would get at Starbucks or some of the local coffee shops, because they're not really cafes. So we're going to be a proper cafe. We'll have an espresso machine. I understand we're going to have a bubble maker. We're going to have bubble tea, as well as pops, and it'll be open for kids. The opening hours, I don't know yet, but so we'll get more to that as we bring you through that. Other than that, it is busy as heck. Dog-wise, I did have to put my Italian Greyhound down about 6 to 8 weeks ago. That was a sad time. That was my wife and I's first of the collection, and we were quite sad about, and we still miss her a little bit in terms of some of the things when we look around and say, oh, she's missing. And that was our Diamond, our Italian Greyhound. She was 12. She had a stroke last year, and she gave us a good year, but in the last few weeks before she went down here really, really quickly, and it was a sad day, let's just say that. On a good note, we have our 76th foster. Her name is Athena. She was a feral dog caught in the community. She lived her first 8 months of her life outside. She is coming along. We've had her for almost 2 months now. We love her to death. Unfortunately, due to travel and work and wanting to get the restaurant open, we have made the decision not to keep her, though I am fighting that almost every day as she becomes more and more used to living in the house and becoming a pack animal for the family, let's just say. She's a lot of fun. She's rambunctious. She's 8 months old. She spent the first 3 days hiding in the house. However, past that now, she's getting better. Still not too keen on people touching her. I'm about the only one that can get away with petting her right now, but of course I feed her and take care of her. So generally those dogs bond very, very quickly. Though she has her moments, if there's a loud noise or anything, she is gone under the bed as quicker than a speeding bullet. But she is good, and I'm hoping that she'll find a really, really good home with an understanding family that will give her an excellent life. She's on the small side, less than 25 pounds. She's a miniature German Shepherd almost. I think that was more due to lack of nutrition. And so she has probably a little bit of a stunted growth, but that has not stopped her against my bigger Huskies. She pounces on them like there's no tomorrow, and Laika just adores her. And the two of them fight all day in the house, making a lot of noise, which is perfectly acceptable to me. Beyond that, we're getting closer to spring. It's balmy minus 17. We've seen an upswing of the warmer weather, or at least what we would call warmer weather, where we actually made it up to into the minus 6 to minus 10 range, which for us is very, very mild, where we're going out in sweat tops and toques and gloves, and we've ditched our jackets. But we're back down now, back to minus 17, and back down to minus 24, minus 25. The weather's a little swingy in March. April we'll start to see the weather consistently above minus 20, and then May will finally hit probably 0 degrees, and June will be plus 0, and then July, August is our summer, and then September it's like the backwards cycle where things get cool, and by October, November we're back down to basically freezing temperatures. So, back to that 2 months of summer. But I see I am just about at the 10-minute mark, and I really want to keep this as short as I can. So I really hope you enjoyed what is going on. I'm going to try to be a little bit more on this, and we'll talk about games too a little bit. But this is just the first one. I think the next time we've been banting around what is a filler, gateway, medium, heavyweight games. How do we, in the cafe, catalog our games, and what is that nomenclature that we would use to identify the games to the patrons who come in, who may or may not be gamers. And we're really hoping to appeal to grow gaming in Yellowknife. There is a board game store, Ogre's Lair. However, we are not competing. We are not a full-blown retail space. We will keep some copies of games, especially around, some of the newer games. We might buy a copy or two just to put in to sell as people play. We will certainly be taking orders and ordering games. Probably like to do some Kickstarters, group purchases, so we might get into that as well as math trades, things like that, and consignment selling in the store. So we'll have a small bit of retail. We'll certainly have some Magic and Pokemon and a couple other collectible card games that's being driven by the Mana Vault, which is the other side of the gaming coin at the cafe. So there's really the Board Games Cafe, and then there's the Mana Vault, which handles the collectible card games. So they're a little bit on the separate side, much like Century Box in Calgary. But anyway, everybody, my name is Harry Jacobs. If you like what you see or hear, please hit the like button, click, click, click. If you want to subscribe, please do. I have a slew of videos that you can look at, especially for games. I try to do different features here and there. So please watch for those. If you have any comments, please put them down below. Really would appreciate your feedback. If you have anything you want to talk about filler games and what defines a filler game versus a medium game versus a heavyweight game, or some nomenclatures around how do we sort of catalog games, or what would you like to see in a board game store when you go in, and how do you like to find a board game in a board game store, which is a really good question. So anyway, that's not going to get answered today. So without further ado, I am signing off because I'm going to go take care of my dogs that are outside doing something or other. My wife will be home, so I have mulligatawny soup on the stove, and that is what is on for dinner tonight. We do a lot of homemade soups, so I'm looking forward to it. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you later. I am out of here. Please play more games, but be safe, and let me know how you're doing.